All right, let's talk about cybersecurity. Right now, it's a mess. We're drowning in tools, buried in alerts, and things just keep getting more complicated. But there's a new idea on the horizon, something that could actually bring some order to all this chaos. So, let's dive right in.
Okay, so I want to start with a question that we really need to ask ourselves. We keep throwing money at more and more security tools, but are they actually making us any safer? I mean, really?
Get this, the average enterprise is trying to manage more than 45 different security tools. 45. Think about that. Each one has its own dashboard, its own set of alerts. It's kind of a security paradox, right? The more stuff you add to protect yourself, the more complex and, believe it or not, the more vulnerable the whole system gets.
And what's the result of all that complexity? Well, this is where it gets crazy. All those tools generate over 10,000 security alerts every single day. Imagine being a security analyst trying to sift through that. It's just noise. It leads to this thing called alert fatigue, which is a fancy way of saying people get overwhelmed and the really important threats just get lost in the shuffle.
So you might be thinking, okay, just hire more people, right? Well, here's the kicker. There's a global shortage of 3.4 times million cybersecurity experts. So let's recap. We have way more tools, an avalanche of alerts, and not nearly enough people to handle any of it. That's a recipe for disaster. So let's just call it what it is. The old way, just buying another tool for every new problem, it's failing. It's not working. It's actually making things worse. It is crystal clear that we need to think about this differently.
And just when you think the problem can't get any bigger, it does. There's a whole new wrinkle that's changing everything because two worlds that were once completely separate are now colliding.
So, on one hand, you've got IT, or information technology. This is probably what you think of first. It's the world of data, right? Emails, servers, apps in the cloud. But then you have OT, or operational technology. And this is the stuff that runs the physical world. We're talking factory robots, the power grid, the systems that make things move and work in real life. And this is where things get really dangerous. This image, it just nails it. You see that cracked bridge connecting the digital world of IT to the physical world of OT? That is the new front line. That's the huge, unprotected gap. The thing is, those OT systems, the factory machines, the power plants, they were never ever designed to be connected to the internet. They just don't have the built-in defenses for it. Okay, so we're fragmented, we're fatigued, and now we've got this gaping hole between our digital and physical worlds. What do we do? Well, the answer isn't to buy another tool. It's about a completely new philosophy. And here's what that philosophy looks like in practice. See how this solution builds a solid, secure bridge? That's the whole idea. Instead of having dozens of tools that don't talk to each other, you have one unified platform. A single, smart system that can see everything, and finally closes that dangerous gap between IT and OT. So, to put it simply, the big shift is from fragmentation to unification. We have to stop adding to the noise and start adding real intelligence to the system. Okay, smarter, unified platform sounds great, but what does that actually mean? What does it do? Well, it really comes down to three main pillars. And everything starts with this first one, total visibility. Because let's be honest, it's a simple ironclad rule. You can't protect what you can't even see. So how do you get that visibility? It's done through this really deep, multi-phase discovery process. Basically, the system goes out and maps everything, from your cloud setup to your development pipeline, your containers, all of it. What you get at the end is a perfect, up-to-date map of every single digital asset in your entire organization. But look, seeing everything is just step one. This next pillar, intelligent action, is where things get really revolutionary. This isn't about just finding problems and then creating a ticket for some poor engineer to deal with 3 weeks from now. This is about fixing problems automatically. The magic behind this is something called autonomous remediation. Basically, it uses AI to figure out what's wrong and then it just fixes it. It can automatically create the right security policy or even patch the code itself. The best analogy is self-driving for security. The system becomes so autonomous, it's almost self-healing.
And this brings us to the third pillar, which is all about changing the entire posture of your security team. It's about shifting from being reactive, always putting out fires, to being proactive, getting ahead of the bad guys instead of just waiting for them to strike. And the way you do that is with something called breach and attack simulation, or BAS for short. The easiest way to think about it is like having your own team of friendly automated hackers. This system is constantly, safely launching simulated attacks against your own defenses. Why? To find the cracks and weaknesses, and to make sure your security tools are actually doing what you paid them to do before a real attacker finds out they're not. So when you put all of that together, the visibility, the intelligent action, the proactive defense, you end up with a truly converged platform. And we're not just talking about a couple of features bolted together. This is a massive suite built on more than a dozen pillars that are all designed to work together. It covers the whole shebang, from your cloud all the way down to the machines on the factory floor.
All right, so let's zoom out. What's the big takeaway from all this? This move toward a unified, autonomous model, it's not just a new type of product. This is about writing the next chapter for the entire cybersecurity industry.
And this quote right here, I think it just says it all. The whole goal is to get out of that chaotic, reactive firefighting mode and move into a state of calm, proactive, and truly autonomous protection. And at the end of the day, this is about so much more than just protecting a company's data. Because when you finally secure both the digital and the physical worlds, the IT and the OT, you're building a much safer, much more resilient foundation for everything that's connected in our world. This is a huge leap forward, no question about it. We're talking about shifting security from something people do to something a system manages on its own. And that leaves us with one last big question to chew on. Is our world ready for a future where security is autonomous?